Hello there, I'm tmib, and this is another Godforge video. Today we're going to go over some of the frequently asked questions on Discord. First up is, how do I upgrade or promote my heroes? To do that, you go into the heroes screen, and then you go and locate the hero that you want to upgrade. In this particular case, I'm going to select the Nubian Warrior. Click the upgrade button. Use the slider to get over to where you want it to be. Click here, select your food, click the next tab, select your food, select the next tab, set your food, and then click the promote button. And I now have a 4-star. As a side note, one of the things that you should do is always make sure that you use spirits for upgrading your characters, simply because if you go in here and you sort and find something to get rid of, you'll see that when you convert it, not only do you get the 2-star spirit but for uncommon, but you also get a small amount of experience. That small amount of experience will add up over time, and the spirits will save your space in your inventory, especially if you're going to be doing things like farming overnight. Next up is, how do I sell gear? Again, you go into the hero screen, you select any particular hero, doesn't really matter which one, click on gear, then click on the gear slot, sort to find the piece of gear that you wish to sell, and click the gold bars right here. It will ask you to confirm, and then click sell. Next is, how do I build a specific hero? Doesn't really matter which hero we're talking about, but you want to decide what their role is going to be. So for example, if their role is going to be DPS, you want to make sure that you get their crit to 100% and then focus on crit damage and speed. Whatever stat their skill scales with. Now sometimes you'll run into ones that scale with hit points or ones that scale with defense. If that's the case, then obviously you want to stack that skill as well. You can read the skills to find out what it is their modifier is by clicking the details button. And then you'll see that, like this one, it scales with attack. Next, if the character that you want to build is a support character, keep in mind that support characters come in two basic flavors. They are ones that debuff and ones that don't. If they debuff, then you're going to want to prioritize accuracy, speed, and tanky survival stats. If you have the gear, high crit can also increase your party's DPS. If they don't debuff, they don't need accuracy. So then you can just focus on the stat that their abilities scale from, speed, and tanky stats. Tanks. Tanks come in a couple different varieties. They're usually defense or hit point based, and all of them function just like all of the other characters, where if you go in and you look at their stats, you'll see that it scales with a specific thing. In this particular case, this guy scales with defense. That will tell you what stat you want to focus on. When it comes to tanks, you want them to be tanky enough to survive and to use their abilities, but you also want them to be fast enough so that they can cycle their abilities quickly. Next up is, how do people have so many legendaries? The easy answer to that is overnight farming. So if you can find a spot that you can auto that drops legendary heroes, you can set it up so that your heroes are just running on auto all night. One of the levels that worked really great for me was 75 and 80. I left 75 running overnight and came back with 4 Legos in my inventory. One of the things that you want to do before you set up, though, is you want to make sure that you go into your roster and clean up some room. If you have a bunch of heroes that you're never going to use, such as, say, this one right here, you can go ahead and use this button in order to unbind them. You can search by rarity and locate them and just turn them into a spirit. Once you've cleaned up as much room as you can, Then you want to find a level that you're capable of autoing. You should select a level ending in 5 or 0 for the best results. Set up your auto farming team. Click auto run and hit battle. Some people report that turning off 2x speed while in the battle will also help make sure that the program doesn't crash during the overnight. Next up is help. I'm stuck on level 90 Fafnir. Fafnir has 2 phases. The I'm gonna F you up phase, which is a sustain or mitigation phase, and the you're no threat, so I'm going to sit here like a cat and toy with you phase. To survive phase 1, you need to be a little bit tanky and prevent as much of the damage as you can. Things that help with that are shields, barriers, radiance, ward, defense up, attack down. Once you get to phase 2, if you can live through phase 1, you should be able to beat it. If your DPS isn't high enough though, he will go back to phase 1 and probably house you unless you're ready to mitigate things again. Next up is help. I'm stuck on level number whatever. It doesn't matter what level you're stuck on, there's always some basic things that you can do to attempt to get your team to succeed. First up is check your speed tune. Make sure your heroes go in the order that you want them to go in and are fast enough to go before the enemy team. Second, turn off auto and try manual. Heroes turn AI is terrible right now, so you're going to be much better running it on manual when you're having a hard time. I expect that the UI will hopefully improve over time, but for now, sometimes just going to manual is what you're going to need to do. Next, read up and understand the mechanics of the encounter. There's a couple different ways that you can do this. The easiest way is to go to the eye over here. This will show you in-game what the various different abilities are of the different bosses that you're going to encounter. Now, unfortunately, this isn't really working right now. As you can see, if I'm looking at the basic and click on the core and then click on the ultimate, they are the same skill in-game. It's because this is broken in this particular wave. You ultimately will want to go to something like ravenpyros.com and look at the boss abilities there. I will put the link to that below. Next is try different hero combinations. Just because you're used to using a specific hero group doesn't necessarily mean that that's the optimal one for this encounter. So try different combinations, read through your character's abilities, see what synergies they have that you might not be currently taking available of. Next, upgrade your heroes. There's a number of different ways that you can upgrade your heroes, such as ascending them and awakening them. Sometimes you'll have the ability to do that, sometimes you won't. However, I usually start with levels. I will go to a floor ending in level 9 because it has a XP bonus for a while, and then I will move on to another level that gives me something that I'm looking for. For example, if I'm working on farming Godsteel to upgrade a weapon, I will go run that a bunch of times with full level heroes just to get the XP and then sink it into the other ones. You can also skill up your heroes. This is a little bit hard to do early on. Once you reach level 100, you can start farming for the skill books that you need for your rare and epic heroes. You don't really get a whole lot of legendary books until you get to 130. And then once you're at 130, you probably no longer are going to need the epic and lower books, but you can farm them right here, as well as the books you need for your legendaries. Next, look at weapons and imprints. Levels drop on the 8th levels. Every single run, you will get a random weapon. Weapons are tied to different factions. For more of that, I will get into later with a different topic. Look at the heroes that you might be sleeping on. For example, if you have Heimdall, Pangu, Beowulf, or Achilles sitting in your roster and you haven't started working on them, you should get to work. And if you're using a hero like Percival, please go find a mirror, look into it, and ask yourself, why don't I like fun? Lastly, farm gear. I add this one because it can help, especially if you're not at the crit cap or you don't have a whole lot of crit damage on your DPS. Next is, how do I avoid the insta-kill on level 120? Now in Wave 1, you could use a weapon called Ami no Nabuko. However, all the bosses have been updated with this wonderful little passive ability called Mythic Persistence. Mythic Persistence reads, when turn meter reduction gain immunity to turn meter decrease effects until their next turn. When divinity is reduced, gain immunity to divinity decreasing effects until their next turn. Now what I take this to mean is that you can hit the boss with one of those things once, and then it will not work again until they take another turn. That doesn't mean that you shouldn't use this weapon, however. It just means that you'll have a little bit more time before the boss can use his ultimate. Really though, this level is a DPS check. You're going to need to do enough damage to the boss before his ultimate goes off. You just need to have enough sustain to not die from the turns prior to that before he hits you with his ultimate. Some things that can help here are Radiance, Shield, Barrier, Defense up, Attack up, Retaliate. For debuffs, Bleed, Drain, Speed down, and Defense down. Upgrading gear in your heroes or building new heroes can also help. Achilles is a star of 120 because of his bleeds and his ultimate. A lot of people will tell you to just spam his A1, which is what stacks the bleeds. Dracula is an MVP for his bleeds, and Beowulf is also always good because of his fantastic boss damage. Next up is, where do I farm for weapons or for a specific weapon? All weapons drop on all floors ending in 8. So in order to find the weapon that you're looking for, you need to know what faction it's associated with. Data suggests that if you farm in the 8th level with the faction banner, that it has the highest drop rate. You can either go into and check out the banner in each of these levels and try to figure it out, or you can use a handy guide that's online. I have a spreadsheet in Google Docs that I will link below that has which weapon belongs to which faction and what level those drop on. Next, how do I use the game on my mobile device? First, in order to do that, you need to be allow listed for mobile. In order to do that, you need to open a ticket, support. You should include your email address associated with your Google Play or Apple App Store for installation. Let them know that you'll need the install link if you need it. The link for that is below. That's all I have for you for now, but if a bunch more questions come up, I'll make sure to record them so that I can fire up another video and put them in so that people can find them easier. If you found this information useful, or you would like to see more Godforge videos, please click the subscribe button below. Until next time, Forge on.